PhD student in Purdue University, specifically specializing in structural and computational biology, which is under the umbrella program biological sciences, and I study CRISPR mechanisms. So I want to thank Godwin for inviting me to give this talk. Actually, being in the lab is a wonderful experience. Like, it has been a good experience so far. And I mean, before you apply for PhD students, there are so many things that you need to take into consideration. And so I'll just point out one or two things that are very important before you reach out to your future advisors. So, I mean, like, the first thing as a science person is to have an interest, right? So everyone who is interested in applying for graduate studies will have a particular interest in a particular research area. So the first thing that I'll advise you is to, tailor down your interests, right? You have a research interest, you've been doing a research already. Maybe you have a background in, let's say, biochemistry, chemistry, biology, or any other related field that is, related to science. And if you definitely want to major in, like, going into a research lab, what I want you to take note is to narrow down your interest, your research interest. So one other thing to consider is also, like, to make sure your research interest, is within the category of professors that you are going to reach out to. So let's say you have you want to reach out to a group of professors under a program. So make sure that your research interests, you can have a narrowed research interest and also a wide research interest. But there are several kinds of programs. For example, we have umbrella programs like biological sciences. So if you come to Purdue, biological sciences, we have about 6 sessions under biological sciences. So in that case, before you come in, you have to, identify potential professors that you want to work with, and also look at their research. The third thing is to look at their research area. Now, before you contact any professor, you just have to look at a person's research. Don't just contact a professor without looking at the area of research. They are so busy, you don't have so much time. So, when you want to reach out to a professor, make sure you have, read about what they do, not in detail, but you have a general idea about what they do before you reach out to a professor. Now, in the biology program, we have, in the sciences, we have like what we call the RA position or a TA position. So there are several departments that admit students as an RA or a TA. So basically, when you come for your first year, sometimes you need to go through rotation periods in a lab. So the first thing is to make sure that you have about 2 to 3 professors that are in your interest. If your department require that you do rotations, before that, you need to read about all these things I'm talking about. So if when you're applying for graduate studies, you want to look at your department, what they require. So their requirements, some of them, their requirement is that first year students, you need to undergo rotations. That is for mostly TAs. And then for research assistants, you might want to select a particular professor. Now, being a research assistant is one, is a very tough decision for your part, because you are selecting a particular professor to work with. You don't know anything about it, and you want to select that particular professor before you join the university. So if you know you are going in for a research assistant position, you need to reach out to the lab members first. So, in the US or anywhere that they do PhD programs, I mean, like there are several graduate students who are very open. So you need to reach out to those graduate students first because they know the system, they know how the system works, especially if you are going to join one particular lab. So if you are not doing rotations and then you are just going directly into a research lab, you need to contact the graduate students that are available. So most of the schools, they post their emails in their website. So you need to consider all those things. Now, let's zoom down to getting contacting the professors themselves. Now, as I spoke earlier that you need to email them, and before you email them, make sure you have done your research well. Make sure you have like read about what they do before you email them. Now, one thing that you want to consider is also to look at their profile. Now, various professors, they have a profile on Google Scholar. So you want to check out their publication. And for example, so we have about 3 kinds of professors. We have PIs, you have the associate, and then the full professors. So if you know that the person you are going to join his lab, or maybe your potential advisor is a new PI, he might not have a publication that is related to the work that he's going to do. So in that case, you need to do your research very well. You need to make sure you are in for it, and then you are in for a new PI. Now, we have associate professors and then also full professors. One thing is that those kind of professors might have a lot of graduate students already. So you need to contact to reach out to those graduate students, make sure you talk to them about the work they do, how they feel about the graduate studies, how their work environment is. I mean, in a lab that is very diverse is a very important thing that you need to consider. When you are joining a lab, make sure that the lab is very diverse and that there are different people there with different cultures. So that is very important because you cannot come and then be in a PhD program and then you feel lonely, you don't feel supported because the PhD itself is a very big challenge on its own, and you feel so depressed sometimes if you don't have that support system. So make sure that that lab environment is very diverse and they accept that kind of diversity. Also, I spoke about being a TA or being an RA. If you know that you're gonna be a TA, you need to select about, let's say, 4 professors. Most of the programs allow you to select about 3 or 4 professors that you're gonna do rotations with. So make sure that, as I said, everything is contacting graduate student. If you're not able to contact the graduate student, make sure those you are going in for are the ones that you have, at least one of them will be your potential advisor. Now you can have a general, interest. Everyone has a general interest. So when you're coming, you have an interest, because when I was coming to the graduate school, I was doing a work in cancer. So I thought I'll be joining a cancer lab. But when you come here, things change, right? So things will not remain the same like what you think about. A lot of things happen here. So you have an idea, you have a research interest, but you need to also be open up to opportunities that will come your way when you get to the graduate school. So make sure that you contact at least 4 professors that you know that one of them might be where you'll be going. And whilst you narrow down to those 4, be also have an open interest. I know you have to narrow down, but you have to also have an open interest. So I think I've talked about a lot of things about your research interest, aligning your research interest to the professor that you're going to speak with, and then also making sure that you have done your research well about the professor. And also, let me say this last thing, as an RA, if you're going into a program that will accept you as an RA, you need to make sure that the professor that you're going to join, you really like the work and you really want to be in that lab. It's very important. It's very, very important because I have a lot of friends that tell me that, you know, Sammy, I wished I had a TA like how you had a TA, so that you get the opportunity to rotate in different labs, because there are times that you go and then you settle in a lab and you realize that what you thought was not the actual thing about how things are in that lab. So make sure you contact, I mean, current graduate student. Don't think, I mean, before I came here, I thought maybe if I contact the graduate student, like the graduate student will maybe go and then tell the professor that, oh, this guy contacted me, was asking about, no. Not all the graduate students have that relationship with their professors, with their PI. So even though they are good with their PIs, they are not very close with their PI. So don't think that while you open up to those graduate students, they will maybe talk to their professor about you, or maybe they will say bad things about you to the professor, that this guy emailed me looking for this. I think he's not a good guy. No one is going to do that. So feel free, everyone is free here. Feel free to reach out, and I mean, people are ready to support you. People are ready to accept your views, and then also to show you the way. That's it. I mean, you, if you don't reach out to anyone, you will not understand what I'm talking about. So I think I'll open up for questions. I'm done. I don't know if yeah, I think I'm on time, right?
Yes. So questions about lab, applying to the sciences program, identifying a potential professor or supervisor, identify a potential individual that you can work in a science lab with. The floor is open. You can either use the chat room or unmute to ask. Any question for Brother Samuel?
So I think there's one question. I'll quickly answer that. What if your prospective PI is a new PI with no students? So if it's a risk that you're taking, right? So sometimes it may turn out good for you, and it may also turn out bad for you. But what I'm saying is, if the professor is actually a new person, you just if you're a Christian, you just pray to your God, and I mean, go for it. I'll advise that. But if you know there is a history behind, that's why I said you need to talk to people who have worked with that professor before. If you know anyone who has worked with, maybe the professor was a postdoc somewhere, you know his profile, you can email those who he did the postdoc with, and then ask about his background. I mean, how he is and how he handles students. So there are a lot of opportunities, just that it's a risk that you're taking. So be very careful if you are choosing new PIs. And it's sometimes it takes time. It takes time to, I mean, develop the lab and then also settle things with that new PI. So you can go for it, but be very, very careful with that. All right.
Any more questions? Any more questions?
Oh, I
Okay.
spoke about risk. Yeah. So, I mean, the risk is that you can, when you're going in for a new PI as a graduate student, you want to publish, right? So what we care about is your publication. So for new PI, you have to he has to now begin to settle with protocols. I mean, build up protocols for the lab. So you will be in charge. You, the new graduate student, you'll be in charge of building up protocols. I mean, when you go to a lab that is already established, there is a lot of optimization that has already taken place. So you don't need to do a whole new thing. But if you join a new lab, you need to go through all the processes to develop protocols for the lab before you can start your actual work. So it sometimes take time, but it's worth it if you have you have that luck. Okay.
Any last questions? Maybe one or two more. Any last questions for Samuel before he leaves? Any last question? Okay, I don't know, Samuel, if there's any final word that you want to add up before. Yep.
Yeah, thanks so much. And thank you all for having me. And I'll always encourage people to apply, especially my brothers and sisters who are in Ghana and also all over the world. I always expect everyone to try your best to apply for graduate studies, but you know that there are rejections. So don't take it so, but you need to have double chances, right? Like have a plan B and don't put everything on graduate studies. Just have a plan B, but put try and then work out things for your own self because you own your own future, right? Yeah, so that's the little things that I want to say. Thank you all, and I'm so glad that you had me today.
Okay, so thank you so much, Samuel, for having you. And so we are glad to learn more about issues related to the lab work and then issues connected to like getting in touch with potential professors whom we can work with in their lab. Thank you so much for your time and also whatever you've lost. We are hoping that hopefully you get more in abundance. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you too.
Okay, so without wasting my time, we would want to move to the second presenter. And so I must say, even though when we look at the information that I posted on WhatsApp and the various platforms, I had indicated that we had 5 presenters, but now we have one additional presenter who will be speaking on Canada. And so even though this seminar is geared towards USA, but I also have a friend who is also experienced when it comes to applying to a school in Canada. And so I spoke to him, and then he decided to join us this afternoon, hoping that he would also get the opportunity and also to present to us. And so if there's any individual who is interested in both US and also Canada, I believe that you can also tune in, listen to him so that once he's done, you can ask your questions and then afterwards you may decide to try both applying to US and also try maybe 1 or 2 Canadian schools as well. And so without much ado, I want to hand over to our second presenter in the person of Kensford Onyina, who will be taking us through school applications and then, yep. Yeah, so Kensford, you can take over.
Thank you, Senior. So I think last week we had a session to this effect, and I'm going to just go straight to the point and do the practicality. I'm going to share my screen with you, how to do the search and make it easier, some new approaches and some new techniques that I've discovered. Then also try and do an application, like open the school portal for you to see how it is done. And just to let you know, it's very simple that you can do it, I mean, within just a few minutes and you are good to go. So sincerely, searching for schools is very, very, very important. I mean, very, very, very tedious. And I understand sometimes when your program is not, let's say, mainstream chemistry, let's say not mainstream mathematics, engineering, and it's like a business program, it's like education or any other program, it becomes difficult for you to get a specific course. So I'm going to just do the general one, which will give you a guide, I mean, on how to go about the school search. So last week, I gave 2 approaches. I said, I mean, I have the state-by-state approach, which is quite crazy. And we are in October now. You have November, December. I always say that if you want funded by December, you should be done. In the worst case scenario, by January 15th, you should be done. That is in the worst case scenario. But by December, you should be done with the application, recommendation letters are sent and everything. So I know the state-by-state approach, which I talked about. This how, let me share my screen first. Sorry. All right, I hope you can see my screen, right? Yeah, so that is, I'm going to go through the state-by-state approach, which is quite tedious, as I said, but you can just narrow it down to specifically the states that you're interested in and check the universities there. So I just normally check the list of states in the US. Okay. So it just comes up. Wikipedia will give you all the states. I just use that one. So I have all the states here from Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, straight to Wyoming, Wisconsin, and Wyoming. So what I was doing was that I take one state, for instance, Alabama, and I'll just go to, let's say, universities in Alabama. Okay. I go there. Then the same thing. So you will have different pop-up menu here. You have Wikipedia giving you its own, then US News as well, then some other stuff, list of universities, college university in Alabama, career profiles and stuff. But I always prefer you go for this one, that is the one that Google fishes out for you. Yes. So, and the trick is that, please, when you are, considering a school, you should look up for public universities, public or private nonprofit. I said that here, public or private nonprofit. Then I'll just be going through one or two schools and let you know what items you should look out for when scouting for a school. So I'm going to use a program like chemistry to do the search. So let's say these are the schools that that are in Alabama or near Alabama, a host of universities from start to what to finish. There are a lot. So I'll just start from University of Alabama itself. Coming University of Alabama, yeah. So I'll go to probably the academics. Then I will check their programs, program of study. Then, so if you are watching us in your undergrad, you go to undergrad. If you are graduate, student, you go to graduate. And I'm sure majority of you are in for graduate studies. So I go to graduate programs. Yeah. Now these are the courses they have at the graduate level here. Let me minimize this. Yeah. These are the courses they have here. So I can use any other program. Let me use Apply Start, but these are the programs they have here. I'm just going to teach you how to just, make it easy for you. You can go through all the programs that they have, check what they, what they do here and there. Yeah. So let me use a program like what they even have dance degree in dance there. And yes, US, every degree is relevant. Trust me, every degree is important, sincerely speaking. So let me use Apply Stats, Masters in Apply Stats. So when it comes to Masters in Apply Stats, this is the program overview. Now, what I'll be looking for, to make it simple, is the admission requirements, okay? The admission requirements. Now, I know majority of you are not taking GRE, and due to the cost and the staffs involved, you're not ready to take the GRE, you're not ready to take it. Yeah, I understand, it's stressful, and I'm with you. I didn't take the GRE as well. So once I see that there's GRE required here, senior, I move on. I just skip it. I don't waste time unless I check. I'll try to review the frequently asked questions or the specifics, that if they waive the GRE. But here, looking at stuff, the GRE is not optional, and it is a key requirement. That is, in order to be considered for regular admission, an applicant must have what? A resume and a GRE score of what? 305 for GMAT. So I'll just go back to the other programs and see. So let me check the biological sciences. Let me say MSc in biology. So let me check the admission. So these are the requirements that they have here. Okay. So you must be a student of chemistry, physics, math, or have knowledge in this, area. That is basically that. Let me check the admission criteria that they have here. Yeah. So I'm looking for, so what I'll be looking out for is necessarily GRE score. Admission test scores, they need it. So you can write to always confirm if indeed they're going to waive it or something. Yeah. GPA requirements, entrance requirements. Yeah. So for this school, I think for this program, they are stringent on that. But I'm sure there are other programs that you don't need a GRE. I'm very, very positive. I'm very, very positive. Let me check a program like English. Let's say English MA. Yeah, requirements. Yeah, you just need an SOP writing sample and names of your references. No GRE required in that regard. So that is a trick here. So let's say I'm done with let me just move this thing from here. I'm done with Alabama and I want to do another state. I'll just do it accordingly. One state I really explored was Michigan. I explored Michigan a lot. So let's say I want to go to Michigan universities in Michigan. Then the same thing, they'll come up. So as I said, public and private nonprofit. So you can even highlight them. But if you highlight them, I think it's a mess up. You just go to straightly to the then they will fish out. So private nonprofits and public universities in Michigan. So this is what they will have here. I have a friend in Grand Valley State. This is a very good school. You can look out school. You can look up. Yeah. I'm coming. All right, so let's check Grand Valley State University. That is a very good school as well. Let's check their majors and programs, as I said. Then when you go to sometimes you go to academics, sometimes you go to majors and programs, either of them work. All you're looking for is the programs available. So we are looking for graduate programs, all graduate programs. Then it should be on campus, or hybrid. Basically you are an international student, you need program that is, taught face-to-face. So let's say I'm looking for a program in let me check public administration. I think I've produced that program here before. Public. Yeah. I think it should be hybrid. Let me search it and see. Okay. Let me check. Okay. All right, so let me just go to other graduate programs. Let me just do a random thing here. I just want to take you through something simple. So let me go to apply stats. Apply stats and check what they have here. So this will just give you the admission, the program overview. What we are looking for again is the admission requirements. Yeah, there we go. So you need a GPA of 3.0 on a 4.0 scale, resume, SOP, and recommendation letters. You are done, just 2. And it can be one from an employer, one from an employer, or one from a professor, and you're good to go. So that is the trick that I used. It is quite tedious, but if you do this, you'll be able to fish out some schools that you will just get them on a Google search. Okay. Now, the other approach I will teach you before I ask you, I would like to ask you questions is that I recently learned that all that we're looking for is funding, right? We're all after funding. So why then do we make it not easier? So let's say I'm interested in a program, let's say chemistry. So what I do is that graduate assistantships in, let's say, MS chemistry, US. So this is what happens. So Google will give you list of GA opportunities in chemistry. And even so next. So let me just choose a random one. So what I'm going to do is that there's another approach for searching for schools. So let me say I choose a school like DePaul University or University of let me use a different university. I've heard that this. Yeah. So let me use Miami University. When I go there, I know they have funding. They have funding available for tuition waiver, stipend, 23,000 here and there. But I'm not looking for the fund. I'm looking for the admission requirements. But this is to just make the search easier because you don't want to go during the search, you're looking for admission requirements and funding opportunity. So this approach that I learned recently also really make the search easier. Yeah. So you just type in this and then you check the admission requirements, graduates. Let me check the graduate chemistry. Yeah. So application procedure, you pay 50, reference letters, transcript, your resume, and optional GRE score. That is the key thing here. And for the English proficiency for Ghana, I think about 80% of universities here, let me say 90%, we are good to go. You don't need to really stress yourself. So that's another trick I learned recently. So you just type in the graduate assistantships and you just keep exploring the options Google will give you and just be going one after the other. Yeah, forget the ads. These are ads, you know, you go over them one after the other. Let me say, graduate assistantships in what program? Geography, you know. Let's say MS Geography or PhD Geography, either ways, yeah, in the US. Oh. So the same thing. This is really a good approach. I mean, it really makes the search easier. But as you go there, you are looking for whether they are, I mean, they are interested in you having a GRE score. I mean, a GRE, GMAT, or requiring any other thing. So I think this is basically that. So I'll try and see if I can do the application for you to know how it goes. Okay, I'm coming. Yeah, so assuming I want to apply to this school, I'll just apply online here, right? So now this is what is happening here? Yeah, good. So now I want to submit my application today. I just go submit my application. It leads me to the application portal, application types. You want to apply for graduate degree campus-based online. Online is not a thing, you know, it's just online is not a thing. So you're going in for campus-based. So you're going to create an account, very simple. Your email, just type in your email. They will send you whatever notification that they will give you. Let me not create an account here. I mean, it's simple as simple as that. So I'll just allow you to ask a question, then I'll take it from there. If need be, I'll know what to do. So, Prof, I think I'll leave it here, right? Yeah, I'll leave it here. I think, I mean, yeah, I'll leave it here. Yeah, so social work, the same approach, masters in social work, you do the same thing. Graduate assistantships in social work is a very, it's a hot cake here. And if you take your time and do your search, the last approach I used, and you check whether they require GRE, GMAT, or those exams, you should be fine. It's a very, I mean, it's a very good program, and you'll get a lot of skills to apply to. So Abu, you shouldn't struggle. French, yeah, French, you can look to University of Kansas, yeah. Kansas State University of Kansas, check that school, French, and do the same approach, you will be fine, the same thing. So Rita, take your time, masters in French, yeah, they have French, I have a colleague in Kansas, so I think, yeah, check it, you will be fine, and some other programs as well. I mean, yeah, you'll be fine. So if it is French, yeah, that is it. Then, yeah, Purdue 2, perfect, yeah, Purdue 2 as well. Yeah, it's possible, Kenneth, for an undergrad to get full funding. It all depends. That's why we are teaching you the same approach. So undergrad, you will have to review the scholarships in the undergrad session, because DS is not like graduate assistantship that we are teaching you here. They offer presidential scholarship and some other kind of scholarship. So it behoves on you to find out from the International Student Office what are the requirements. Do you need to set for SAT? Because for undergrad, it's very difficult to get full funding if you don't have SAT, sincerely speaking. So you have to review it very well. I know Anna Maria College will give you, let's say, 35K out of 60 or so, but I mean, it's very tough for you to survive as an undergrad without full funding. So, yeah, is it possible to email the graduate school for a specific program? And yes, it's possible. Yeah, quite cool. So, assuming you're applying for mathematics in a school and you did excellent, you had, let's say, a very good, I mean, GPA or results, you can write to them, even though it is not optional. Sometimes take your time to read. I was reviewing a school recently and I thought they needed a GRE. I was about to email them and I said, let me take my time and review it well. So I went and checked their frequently asked questions, and it's like the GRE is optional. So it's not just optional per se, but when it comes to funding decision, there are some schools, they'll say it's optional, but when it comes to funding, they will ensure that the GRE is prioritized. So be able to decipher between these two. Then you can write to them. I took these courses. I took, let's say, these quant courses, and I did excellent. So they can wait for you, Kweku. Yeah. Yeah, Lawrence, the same approach. There is no shortcut in this process. There's no shortcut. I can't just be mentioning schools. There are about 50 states in the US and over thousands of universities. Okay. So just take your time and just follow the approach we taught you. If you have any question, drop it on the page and we will be glad to respond. Yeah, there is funding for medicine, but for medicine, you can't just come straight into US to do medicine. It has to go through a process. You would have to take some proficiency exams and stuff. I mean, some some aptitude tests, MCAT, and those exams. So you can just, straight away from Ghana or wherever you're watching us from to just come and, do, medicine. So that is that, yeah. There is funding. No, Vera, you can't apply for FAFSA. FAFSA is for the citizens, those from this country. You can't apply for FAFSA, yeah. But you don't need FAFSA, Vera. You don't need FAFSA. They have a lot of funding opportunities. It's all behoves on you to do your search very well and try as much as possible to follow the advice. And I must commend you guys for making time to for these webinars. Trust me, they are really good. We never missed some of these sessions, and we were always there, even though we thought we knew whatever we were doing. We were always there to add up to what we already know. Yeah. So you don't qualify. So that is the school search, as simple as that. I give you two approaches. You can use either of them. Yeah. Please, Penn State is requiring TOEFL. Yeah, so Vincent, right? Penn State, if they are required, I doubt Penn State is requiring that. Yeah, right to the graduate, coordinator that you studied, in a country whereby English is an official language, and you have a letter to that effect from your school. They should be able to waive it. If they don't waive it, we have a lot of options. We have a lot of options. You shouldn't, corner yourself with one school, but I'm sure you'll be fine. Yeah, Masters in French. I said, Joseph, I mentioned Kansas, University of Kansas or Kansas State University. And I said that just follow the same pattern I demonstrated. You will find a myriad of those schools in US. Yes. Yeah. And Purdue too as well. They have, some program as Godwin highlighted. I have learned anything, but I will have one question to you. Do you need to contact? Yes. So the question is, when you are contacting the graduate coordinator, do you have a question? Have you reviewed the program? You have to review the program very well and check their frequently asked questions. If whatever question you want to ask the coordinator have not been asked there. Now, there's some questions that I normally ask them that, let's say, last year, what was the pool of applicants, the average GPA for admission and funding? These questions, I needed them to know my stand. So that was what I was doing. I'm not saying copy my approach, but you contact them to ask questions, not just to kind of just send an email. It is good. Sometimes you put in an email that Professor Godwin, I'm a student from Ghana, this, that, I did chemistry, I had this, that, and I'm about to put in my application. I'm just reaching out to just kind of like introduce myself to you. It is fair enough. You can do that. But that does not warrant your funding. No, it is just a way of just establishing, not like a rapport per se, but like kind of like, getting in touch with the department so that you don't feel like an outsider. Yeah. Yeah. So contacting them before or after is contingent on why. So answer the why. Do they need you to kind of reach out before you apply? Then do so. Do they need to get a supervisor before you apply? Then do so. If they don't need you to get a supervisor before you apply, don't do it. Yeah. I'm currently stuck with funding to complete the process of applying for. Why are you stuck? Be specific. Should I go ahead to apply to school who the supervisor showed interest in my application and requested for Zoom meeting? But yeah, Quick Wakings. Yeah, it happens. Sorry to hear that. It really happens. Sometimes. So I always tell people that. So you get the funding offer. Don't think that whatever email you've been exchanging is like affirms that you've been giving funding. No. So you get a funding. So don't give up. Just if they don't need you to get a supervisor before you apply, but he just expressed, or the professor just expressed interest in whatever you want to do, then please go ahead and do your application. But if they need you to get a supervisor before, listen very well, if they need you to get a supervisor before applying, then try and reach out to another professor or the graduate coordinator and let the coordinator know what is happening. Yeah, but normally, I'm not sure, I don't know your program though, but if they don't need you to get a supervisor before applying, then please just go ahead and put in the application. Yeah, so there is no difficulty in securing funding. The thing is, does the funding come with admission, or you have to apply for funding separately? For graduate programs, I think you are an undergrad. For graduate programs, you do it concurrently with the application process. But for undergrad, you can do it separately. So whenever you're having difficulty, go to the financial aid office. their contact, reach out to them. I am an undergrad, I've applied, I'm from this country, and I don't have access to some of these scholarship opportunities. But before you email them, ensure you have perused their site to know the opportunities available before you send the email. If you have done that and you have not seen any scholarship on the school's website, write to them. They will be able to provide you with some links. I think this was a good one, and I really loved it. So yeah, get to work. There is no easy way out. There is no easy way out. Yeah.
Yeah. Any final questions before we release Kingsford, and then we have our third presenter? Any final questions? You can either use the chat room or mute and then talk.
Yeah, so they will provide you with the other alternatives. Yeah, they have to provide the other. When you say other alternatives, that means other options. Other option is just like a vague statement. You need to kind of be specific. So that's why I'm saying that. So yeah, you should be fine. There are a lot of schools for undergrad. Let me check that school for you. There's a school here, undergrad, very good school. Let me check it for you. I'm dropping it here. And I can't even pronounce the school's name. They have very good funding packages. It's in Pennsylvania. Check it out. Check this school out. The school I just dropped here. Very good offers. And Anna Maria College. That's one undergrad. Admission, but my yeah, Rhoda. So that's why I was demonstrating in my approach. Before you put in application, ensure they have funding available. And now, due to the COVID-19 and some other issues, always try to confirm if that pending academic year, or let's say 2023, they will have funding available. It's good you ask. So it's rather unfortunate, but always ensure you reach out to confirm that they have funding available before you put in the application. So if your department is not having funding, reach out to the financial aid office and other on-campus employment GAs. They have some in the International Students Office. They have some in the graduate school. They have some in other research centers in the school. And some other professors too might be having other offers available. So do so, reach out to them that what are the other external funding outside the department that they can help you with. The program needs a supervisor before you apply. Actually, I made a coordinator and she suggested I apply and mention. Yeah, that is it. Yeah. So if the coordinator said that, then don't feel bad. Put in and just keep praying and you'll be fine. Can I have specialties? What is there a French word? In writing, personal goals? Your question is not clear, Rita. Come again, please. I don't want to just think for you. Oh, you mean you want someone to write it for you? Yeah, you can reach out to Senior Godwin. Actually, what I do is that I have a consultancy as well. As I think Godwin too is having one. Yeah, I have a consultancy as well. I mean, we are a team. What we do is that we help with application. I mean, we help with the school search. We recommend schools. We have 2 packages. We recommend schools 3, 6 for the other package. When you come, you just talk about it. But recommend schools that have higher chance of getting funding. Then review your documents. But we don't do the application for you. We just help coach you one-on-one mentoring. So you from admission to funding. Yeah, so that's what we do. So if you want to reach out,
yeah, so you can drop your email or contact. Yeah, I think you can. Your team can assist various individuals on that. Yep.
Yeah, just send an email to that, express an interest. I'll just reply you and we'll get back in. I mean, just send you a form for you to fill and you'll be good to go. Yeah, just an email. And I also have a YouTube channel as well. I think you guys know already. You can check it out. Push out some free information here and there and you'll be fine. Yeah. So that is that. I think this was a good one. So Senior, I think we will end it here, right?
Okay. Any final question? If not, okay, I think that's all. So thank you so much for the needed information that you have provided to us this afternoon. We are happy to have you on. And so as he sent his email on the chat room, if you have any questions, you can go ahead and then get in touch for any assistance that you need, being it from searching for schools, applications, or any other thing. You can get in touch with him for him to render onto you different forms of services. But I must add that there is a little charge And so if you are ready to go on for that, be ready to make the payment as well. So if there is no question, we would now want to move to our third presenter. So our third presenter we have in the person of Gideon, who will be taking us through the other various tips. Let me share. Yep. Gideon, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, please, you can take over.
All right, thank you very much for the opportunity. And we appreciate the great work that you are all doing, and the likes of Kingsley and all others. I think that is a great opportunity that we have to take advantage of and be able to support that. So I'm talking about two main things here. One, application fee, and then the research interest. So paying of application fee, I will start with a statement that it is an investment, and for which either rain or shine, we have to do that. So one would ask, how do I pay for the application fee? So you can pay it yourself by using, when you have a debit card or Visa card, you can pay it yourself, or someone can also pay it for, whether the person is in Ghana or outside Ghana or wherever you may be. Get to know the amount to be paid for the school you may be applying to. Very important. If it's $50, if it's 60, if it's 70, I know this year there have been an increment in most of the schools, but still we have to do that. So know the amount to be paid, and then know that your application is not submitted until you pay your application fee. So know the amount to be paid, know how you're going to pay it. If you don't have a debit card or a Visa card, just let someone do it for you, but please do what to inform the person ahead of time, whether the person is in Ghana or going to be outside Ghana. And importantly, if it's $50 and someone pays for you, obviously there's going to be charges on it. It means if you are going to repay, you not pay the exact amount that the person paid. Try to add up to that amount, or which the person may be charged for a tax. If the person decides, oh, it's fine, you can go ahead. And then also, we may be paying for application for, let's say, maybe 3 or 4 schools, and you may not have the means to pay for all the 3 or 4. Someone will assist you. If you know you don't have the means, just let the person know, okay, I want you, or could you help me with this? And probably later, maybe 2 months, if you know you can't give a month ultimatum, okay, the next month I'm going to pay you, and you're unable to do so, so let the person know, maybe 2 months or 3 months, that'll be better. And if someone is also going to pay for you outside Ghana, and the person decides, okay, I want to send money home, but if you intend that you want me to pay for the application fee for you, I'm going to do that. And after doing that, you send the money. You can also use this approach to get someone to pay for you. The bigger question will be, so why do you have to pay for it? I think the last session we had a situation where we got to know of it that a number of schools are also waived application fee. Those ones will be more like what we use in Ghanaian terms, like force, because it's free. You're going to have a number of applicants applying to that school. And as I use myself as an example, with 4 schools that I applied to, Kent State, Ohio University, Nebraska University Lincoln, and then Northern Illinois University. I paid for all the 3. I paid for 3. That was for the PhD application, but I didn't pay for Kent State, which was for masters. And I realized one thing: Kent received a number of applicants, and so again, even if you have the best whatsoever, you also didn't pay for application. And later they were not having enough faculty members and all that. But notwithstanding, I prefer that let's take this opportunity or a step to pay for the application. It's not going to be easy, but I tell you, you can just do the calculation. Maybe 2 months salary, you're going to use that to pay application. When you get it, and I always tell people, I've been here, it's not been a month though. I mean, it's not been a year though, but at the end of the day, looking at how things are running out, you can see that, okay, staying here for 3-4 years, at least will be far better. And the likes of Senior Godwin and Kingsley, those have been in the system for 2-3 years, 4 years, would bear witness that yes, if they are to go back to Ghana, they know that they've made better and have improved, as well as other opportunities that they have had opportunity. And it was the paying of the application fee that picked for them. So let's do that. So application fee paying is very important. Like I said, even Ohio, I requested for fee waiver, and the director told me directly that no, he's not going to do that. So the best I had to do was to pay. And God being so good, that was the school that offered me admission with full funding at the initial stages, and later NIU came, I had to deny that admission. So for application fee, I think these are the few things. So get to know the amount to pay, get to know how you're going to pay it. Do not wait. Just get someone in touch. If you don't have a debit card, if you don't have a Visa card, so that the person will be aware, not last minute, because it can be very frustrating. At night when you go to submit your application and you have to pay, it too very, very frustrating. I went through when I was paying for University of Nebraska, because I was not having a debit card, neither a Visa card. And the one going to pay for me was also tossing me up, though I was ready to pay the money. And it was very difficult for me. So let's do that. Yeah, so I think the other thing, the first presenter spoke about is the research interest. So I'm actually speaking for those in the arts, the humanities, or the social sciences. Yeah, so it's very important you have a research interest, especially at a master's and PhD level. And you always have to make sure that your research interest aligns with that of a faculty member. Now, this is one of the tricks. We want to be here, or we want to travel outside our home country. So if your research interests do not align with that of a faculty member, what are you going to do? So you would then have to make sure that you frame, or let me say carve a research topic that will be around that of the faculty member, depending on the program you're going to study. So if it's economics, if it's history, if it's international studies, if it's international relations, international development studies, then you have to align your research to that of the faculty member. When you get here, you have the opportunity either to continue that topic, or you could, sit and discuss that. And in my case, it was the same thing. I came with a different research. I came with a different research interest that I was going to look at the political history of Ghana, and somehow was like, this is a topic that scholars have written so many or produced a lot of. So it will be better for me to, I'm now thinking, so I engage him that, okay, this topic or this aspect I want to focus on in colonial history, so many studies or literatures have been produced. Then there will be the need for me to move out of that. So get a research. If your research does not tailor or does not fall in line with that of the faculty member you want to work, you can just trim it a bit to suit that of the faculty member. So you get in, and then you can then decide, okay, I wanted to work on this. This is what I think, and you can, because the bigger thing, as we say, is how we can get here. That's the most important thing. So let's keep that in mind. And as we already expressed, so know the area also as well, and especially the research, why you want to conduct the research and all that. But I think the gentleman spoke about it, so I wouldn't want to spend so much time talking about the research interest. But it would be better that PhD, especially PhD, and this is, just the preparatory stage. When everything goes on successfully, and especially you go for your visa interview, if you don't have a research interest, this year a guy was bound because the guy could not tell the VO, the visa officer, his research interest when he was asked, what are you going to research on? So it's very important for the application. Let's get it. In our SOP, you state your research interest. Okay, so my research interest aligns with this faculty member, and I'll be looking at this, and then the other faculty members that you can also mention, so that in case the other one may not be available or whatsoever, you also have others also in place. And for instance, you can draft a proposal of it and forward it to the faculty member to also check it out. I think US, most of them do not actually request for, the research proposal or something like that. But once you have an area, I think they are cool to go, like maybe schools in UK that require you to write a comprehensive proposal and all that. So, Senior, for me, I think I will end here. And if there are any questions that people would want to ask, they can go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much. And so we would want to open the floor for questions. If you have any question related to application fee and then research interest, you can go ahead and then throw in your question by using the chat room, or you can also unmute and ask your question. I must emphasize that Gideon's specialization is in the humanities or social sciences. And so if you are interested in the humanities, social sciences, you can also get in touch as well. Yeah, so the floor is open. The next 2-3 minutes, the floor is open for questions. You can send your question or mute and talk.
Someone is asking. Yeah, all right, go ahead. Go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah, so I think I just joined the Zoom. So my question is, I've applied for a school and then they are asking for my 9th grade report. So I'm asking, is it with everyone, or is it has to do, it's just for some particular schools which ask or add it to their requirement?
Ask for
my 9th grade report.
your network. Mm-hmm.
Ninth grade report. 9th. That's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Okay.
9th grade report. So I'm asking if it is some particular schools who ask of that, or who ask for that.
Let me jump in. That's your high school report, 9th grade. Are you applying for an undergraduate program?
Yeah.
Yes, so that's why they're demanding for your high school report, 9th grade report. And so basically, if you're applying for an undergrad, they do require that. But if you're applying for master's or PhD, usually the focus is on what you achieved during your bachelor's education. Yeah, so it's a requirement for undergraduate programs.
Okay. Thank you. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. So another question. So is there a way that I can ask for a waiver, like they're asking for my TOEFL results?
So you can send an email to the school and then request for a waiver. But that notwithstanding, I think the guarantee is at a lower level compared to someone who is applying for a master's program. Because the ideal case is that by the time you are done with high school, in most cases, you've not really much been exposed to various courses for them to test your thinking ability, analytical ability when it comes to maybe writing, when it comes to constructing arguments and others. And so when it comes to waiving it for someone who is applying for an undergraduate program, that becomes a bit difficult. But that notwithstanding, you can also go ahead and then send an email to the school. Let them know that I'm coming from Ghana, a country where English is our F1 language. And so since my kindergarten level through to my, like from kindergarten through to first grade to my middle school and even during my high school time, I've been using English as a medium of communication, and my instructors have also been using English as the medium of instruction.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Welcome. Yeah, Gideon, you can take over. Any questions related to application and then research interest?
Okay. So 2 questions here quickly. So the first question,
Your line is
so
glitching.
how do you research out? Oh, sorry. How do you reach out to a faculty? Oh, sorry. Is it okay or is still the same?
A bit better now. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, I think the line is a little better now. So maybe you can go ahead.
Hello.
So Abuaje is asking, how do you reach out to faculty member whose research area? I mean, the best thing to do is to get the email address of the faculty member on the school's website. So mostly, if you want to do that, you go to the program search. If it's, let's say, history, so you then click on history, Department of History for that particular school. So let's say Ohio State University. Once you click on it, you go a column where you're going to see academics and all that. Usually we have the faculty section. So the faculty section is and through that the email of that faculty member you may want to reach out to, whose research interests may align with yours. Is there age limit for undergraduate programs? I would say so. Just push hard and go through it. This year I had a chance to meet a lady who actually spent about, I think, 7 years after high school, and she got admission into one of the schools in the U.S.A. and she has been able to make it. So don't worry. The best you have to do is to just put in the application. So don't worry so much about the age. Everything is in the hands of God. So that'll work out. I mean, the girl was even, not so happy about it. Like she was kind of, fear has gripped her because she was like after 17 years high school, and when she was going for her visa interview, but we encouraged her, and when she went, she was given her visa. So you can go in for it. It's mandatory to have automatic score. I think it depends on the school. These test scores, with just a few of them still having it. But whatever the situation may be, reach out to faculty, the programs director, and inquire about it all. If it's mandatory, I think that once you have interest in it, some of them are likely to waive it, even if it's a requirement. And as Kingsley indicated, Ghana is also part of the countries that most universities have decided to waive this GRE and GMAT once they receive your transcript from that country. Please, any university that, yes, I mean, there are now universities offering master and midwifery, so just do that. Is it possible to apply for PhD after offering a 6-year degree in the university? 6-year degree, Jennifer, 6 year for what? Is it for undergrad and masters or what? If you could, I mean, highlight on that point for me.
I think the person is talking about like the gap between like graduating with your first degree and then trying to apply for maybe PhD. Maybe I think that's so.
No, I think she's so she added undergrad. Yes, I mean,
Yeah.
everything is possible. I think the answer is simple. Everything is possible. So you can go in for it. I think now the most important thing is that you have strong document to support your application. That's the most important thing. So let's not even think about the years or the gaps within. You can in for it.
Yeah, on the year one thing, Gideon.
So
Gideon.
Yeah, Prof, please go ahead.
Yeah, on the year, one thing that I also want to emphasize is that for some institutions, if the years are too wide, there are some other restrictions that they add to like their requirement. I think I've once encountered an institution where they indicate that I think 6 years or 7 years or so, if the time between the time that you are applying and the time that you got your degree is more than either 6, 5, or 7 years, then they require that you submit to them an English proficiency letter or maybe a TOEFL, because they really want to judge your proficiency level, looking at maybe the distance between when you graduated and then when you are submitting an application. So at times it does matter, but that depends on the school and also the program that you are applying to.
Okay. All right, so we have a hand up, so we can take that question. Akins, go ahead. Yeah, Akins, go ahead.
Hello. Yes, I want to
Hello.
find out. I want to find out. Imagine a school has a waiver for application fee, and I choose to apply to this same university. It's in my case, I want to pay for the application fee. I want to find out, is there a chance of me being admitted over a guy who went in for the application fee waiver? Thank you.
Gideon, are you there? So once the school indicate that
No, I think once they waive that policy that the university has rolled out.
yeah, so once it has been indicated that they are waiving,
Go ahead.
yeah, once they indicate that they are waiving applications, it means if you decide to go ahead and then make any payment, they are just gonna chop your money. Like it's not gonna influence your admission or your funding decision. They've opened it that all applications are being waived. And so even if you want to pay that, I doubt there's even going to be any option for you to go ahead and even make any payment. Yeah, so there's no connection with that. Gideon, you can take over.
Hello.
All right.
Yeah, I have
Yeah.
one question to ask.
Hello.
Hello, can I ask my question? Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Some school, when you are submitting application, they will ask you to submit a financial statement or bank statement. So if you can throw some light on it, how to submit that financial statement or the bank statement to the school.
Prof. So, Akins, do you still have something to add?
Yeah, so to briefly answer that particular question, always whenever the school requires that you are supposed to submit a bank statement or financial statement, they go ahead and then provide you the medium or the tool through which you can use to do that. And so some of them, they will ask you to upload it on their portal. Some of them to ask you to scan it and then email it to the international office. And so basically, most of these schools, they expect you to submit a bank statement. And so the bank statement is to provide an assurance that indeed, if you have been admitted, you can cater for yourself. And so when they are asking about financial statement or bank statement, they care less about the graduate assistant that you're going to secure. And so after securing your graduate assistant, that's when at times they will try to do some form of deductions. And the bank statement, it is not a must for the bank statement to come from you. You can go ahead if there's any individual that you know, being it an uncle, like a father, a mom, or any individual that you know, that you think has some funds in his or her account or their account, that you can go ahead and then present their bank account and then try to let them know that this bank account belongs to my uncle, my sister, or maybe my father, and then you can forward it to the school. I must add, do not forge any form of bank statement. I know of one guy who forged a bank statement, and now the guy has been banned from entering the US for the next 5 years. Not just that, he has been banned from applying to any school in the US because he went ahead and then forged a bank statement. If you don't have one, if you don't know someone, if you don't have any relative who has maybe like a huge sums of money in his or her account, you can go ahead and then talk to someone that you know. It could just be any other individual. Talk to the person. If the person is ready to offer you his or their bank statement, you can go ahead and then take it, run a copy, and then send it to the school. I believe your question has been answered. So if you have diploma in accounting, in U.S. here, they don't really, I'm sorry to say, they don't really respect like diploma, because in their school categorization, I think even those with high school, they give them diploma. And so some high schools, when you are done, you get like a diploma after your high school. And so basically they consider you as someone who has graduated from high school, who is here to begin your bachelor's degree. And so in that instance, you would have to apply for a bachelor's program, which at times the funding becomes difficult. But that notwithstanding, you can go ahead and then give it a try. Then, please, is it my university that should send my transcript? Or so when it comes to sending your transcript to the school, it depends on the requirement of a given institution. For some institutions, they will indicate that they want an official transcript. Official transcript means that no one has opened the official document. That document is sealed. And so in that case, you can get in touch with the Bezos office, the people who are in charge of the transcripts. You can get in touch with them, fill the forms, and then let them know that, okay, I need this transcript to be sent to maybe Purdue University in West Lafayette, Indiana. They will go ahead and then do so as expected. But if the school informs you that you can upload your transcripts, in that case, you can go for the transcript. If you already have one, you can go ahead and then scan that one and just upload it on the school's website. That should be fine. Then if you are already taking university classes in your country, could you state in there that you have not taken any? You can just go ahead and let them know that like you are taking some courses. You may also choose not to indicate to them, but any option that you choose, be ready to defend, because at times you might get a counselor who will be so tough that the person will be asking you a lot of questions. So you need to be ready to defend. The embassy may not necessarily know unless they find out that there's something fishy. At times, if they find out there's something fishy, they might tell you that they will go ahead and then do some research and then get back to you on your visa application. Real estate, I don't have an answer to that. You can go ahead and then run a search on that. And then will the embassy have access to the information you send to your school? And so the embassy do not necessarily contact the school unless there is something fishy in your application. If there's something fishy, they'll go ahead and then get in touch with your school, try to find out and others. I think that's all. Any last question, and then we invite our next presenter.
Yeah, hello, Gideon.
Yeah.
I raised my hand, but I think you haven't seen me.
Okay, you can go ahead and talk. Nicole, then afterwards, Abdallah.
Yeah, I wanted to ask pertaining to the financial statement. Some schools will require you to send a financial statement even you start the application. But I wanted to know that in case you are to get a financial statement, does it mean that you are going to find yourself if you don't get a sponsorship? That's for your studies after getting admission. Does it mean that that funding that you should, that teaching that you should bring? That's what I wanted to clarify.
So if you submit the financial statement or the bank statement and you do not get funding, the assumption is that the individual that you submitted his or her or their bank statement is going to support you when it comes to your education. And so that's the whole assumption. And so given that you did not get funding, it is expected that the amount that has been deposited or the amount that has been moving through the transcript will be something like of a huge amount. They are more interested in the cash flow, not the exact amount which is still in the bank account. They are more interested in the cash flow. How much, like what's the amount that usually moves in and out of the given account that you did submit. But if you get funding or if you are offered a graduate assistantship, they will do the additions and the subtractions. And so if I use my case, for instance, when I was doing my master's, I had submitted a bank statement that had like a huge sum of money. That was like 200,000 cedis. But after getting my graduate assistantship and they did the deductions and everything, so let's assume that within the year, your tuition and everything amount to, let's say, 25,000. And then your graduate assistantship is offering 21,000. They will do the calculations. And then after doing the calculation, they will indicate that you still have 4,000. They will, at times they will do the calculations for it to pop up that you still have maybe this amount which is coming from your bank account or the bank statement, and then this given amount which is also coming from the graduate assistantship. And so whoever picks your I-20 knows that this is the amount that you have from your graduate assistantship as part of your funding. And this is the amount that is coming from your bank statement. And so at times you present it to the counselor during your visa interview, they're like, oh, come on, this person, this graduate assistantship is a huge amount. Yeah. I believe I've answered your question.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Abdallah.
Hello. Good evening once more. Please, some of us, I, for instance, I went to training college where I studied 3 years diploma in basic education. Then I went for a top-up of 2 years and then had a degree in basic education. Thereafter, I went for master's, and currently I'm reading another master's in Ghana. Please, with the fact that I had my first degree for 2 years, would that have an impact on my chances of getting admission?
No. So when you are submitting your application, you can go ahead and then submit your transcripts. And so for most institutions, they usually ask you to indicate your post-secondary educational history. And so you go ahead and they let them know that, okay, you went to the teacher training, and then afterwards, you also indicate that you also went to the university as well. And I think usually they even ask of like the CGPA from each of these various institutions that you indicate the history. So that's not going to be a problem. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Any last question before we move on to the next person?
Yes. Hello.
Okay, you can go ahead, Hawaii.
Okay. With the issue of the bank statements, most of us, I'll use myself for an example. The bank statement I'm using, it is obvious that the people stated on it are not going to sponsor in any way, but they gave the statement to spoke to the activity, which I was able to secure. But the problem now is that the view, how to convince them there. I was told that mostly if you use a friend's bank statement, they don't accept that. They might even disqualify you on the spot. So I need your advice and suggestion.
Like who might disqualify you, the counselor or who?
No, not the counselor, the visa officer.
Yeah, that's what I mean by the counselor. Sorry. So
okay, sorry.
I don't think that's the case. Okay. I've seen a couple of people where there are instances where they talk to people and then upon agreeing, they go ahead and use the individuals and indicate that, okay, this is my friend. Or maybe like, I'll say that you don't have to indicate that the person is your friend. Okay. Why am I saying this? Because the idea is that if I am your friend, I'm not going to be paying your school fees of like 30,000 a year. That's not going to happen. And when you're going for the visa interview, usually there is a letter which is, we write it, is stated as sponsorship letter. You add a letter which indicate that, oh, this is someone who has been taking care of me from my high school education days. And so even though you are just presenting the bank statement for formality's sake. You add the sponsorship letter, and in the sponsorship letter, you are going to indicate that this is my uncle, this is my father, this is my mom, this is someone who has been catering for me since my college days, maybe since my high school days, or even like since my kindergarten days, even though that may not be the actual issue. And so you don't indicate that this person is my friend and I took my friend's bank statement. No, because your friend cannot give you $10,000, $20,000 or $30,000 just to be paying for your tuition. If you go with that premise, and then in that case, the counselor will easily bounce you because they know that no, this thing is not going to happen. But you can indicate that this person is my uncle, my dad, my auntie, or my mom, and just add the sponsorship letter and indicate that, okay, this person has been taking care of me for the past years. That should be fine, and you should be ready to go. Most of the people who even go for the interview, in most cases, people go for a bank statement from individuals that they don't even know. Maybe they meet once, and then afterwards, the nurses, like, they getting in touch, and they may be getting the opportunity to get a bank statement. That's all. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Gordon.
Yeah.
In addition to that, in that case, you should be able to talk to the document provided, because if it is your friend that you're going to say that the person is your uncle or your aunt or whatever, whoever, then when you are being called to answer questions regarding the person's life, whatever he or she does in terms of work and personal life, you should be able to articulate those things, that you don't just send your friend's bank statement and that's all. You should be able to know what he does that earns her the income that's on the statement, because mostly sometimes too they ask of that.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Please, a follow-up question to that. So are you able to use your boss's bank statement and say, this is my boss's bank statement?
Yeah, once, if the person agrees, you'll be able to use that. But notwithstanding, you should be able to, if you go and indicate that this is my boss, it is likely that the individual that you meet during the interview may not be convinced. You get what I mean? Because
so in a case where the person gives you, like the person being your boss gives you a work reference, a recommendation as well, and maybe you're able to provide that this is my boss, this recommendation to my education, and is sponsoring me with in terms of finances. Can that also be a proof?
Yeah, you can go ahead and do that. Okay. When it comes to recommendation letters, that one goes to the school. And for the school may not even ask you who owns the bank statement. And so once you upload the bank statement and it's authentic, you're good to go. But for the consulate, most of them over there are psychologists. And so at times, if they smell something fishy, they will ask you who owns this bank statement. Where is it coming from? You get it? And so if you're going there using your boss bank statement, you should be in the position of talking to the person that, okay, in case of any question, in case any question comes, I'll let them know that you are my boss and you've decided to sponsor my education. And you can also write a sponsorship letter and then add that sponsorship letter when going for the interview. Yeah. Okay. So the person who asks about uploading an official transcript, yes, you can go ahead and then scan the transcript and then upload it. Once they indicate that you need to upload it, you can go ahead and upload your official transcript. The one that bears the stamp, go ahead, scan it and then upload it. That should be fine. That's what Purdue does. But after your first semester, you need to inform UCC, Tech, Legon, or any institution to send them your official hard copy transcript. If you delay, they are going to put a hold on your account. It happened to me. I delayed in UCC delayed. I wouldn't say I delayed. UCC delayed in submitting my transcript, even though I had paid. And so when they reopened for registration, a hold was placed on my account, and it took some time until when they received the official document from UCC. Yeah. Any last question, and then we move on to the next presenter for Canada. Akins, is your hand up?
Oh.
Abdallah, is your hands up? You and Akins. If not, we are moving to the next presenter. Okay, and so we're going to move. Hello.
Hello. Yes, I want to find out what are the key features I would have to look out for when I should go in for a bank statement. Now, I've been following your conversation. I want to find out, should the bank statement be one that has money to be flowing every day or within a period of time? Now, should the amount be so huge, or should it be a standard amount which will keep the account active? The reason why I'm asking, if I should seek for sponsorship, and if it happens I have a bank statement which contains huge amounts of money, would I be able to persuade these people to sponsor me? I think in one of your submissions, you made a statement where it got to a point in time you were being asked to top up or something like that. So just help me with the key features I would have to look out for when I go in for a bank statement, probably from my father or relative. And what should be the amount? Should it be something more money running through this account, or an adequate amount to keep the account active? So please help educate me on that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for that particular question. What I would say is that first, you presenting a bank statement that has a huge amount in it is not going to affect your chances of getting a graduate assistantship, because the bank statement that we send to the school, that bank statement goes to the International Students and Scholars Office. And then in most cases, the graduate assistantship, fellowship, and others are given by the respective department or the respective colleges, or maybe the graduate school. And so for the International Students Office, what they do is that they ensure that they have a compilation of all the needed documents. If you are being asked to submit a bank statement right after you submit application, they wait for all your documents to be ready, and then they go ahead and then forward the resume, the statement of purpose, and the other needed stuff to the department. They do not necessarily add the bank statement. The bank statement, the international office works on it. And in a case, for some instances, the bank statement is required after admission. And so admission has been given by the department, and so the international office goes ahead and then requests for a bank statement, at times before you get a GA, and at times to after you get a GA. And then on the issue of how much is enough, that's a question that most individuals have been asking. And I don't think I'm in a position of telling you that this amount is okay or this amount is not okay. It depends on how much you can get in a given account. In some instances, some individuals may have a low amount, but in some instances, some other individuals may have a high amount. But that notwithstanding, if you check and maybe the school's portal indicate that, oh, their expenses for 1 year is like $20,000, and then you are not yet having funding, it is important that you have a bank statement with an amount that is higher than the 1 year expenses of the graduate school or maybe undergraduate school. Yes. And then when we talk about the issue of the cash flow and the others, if there is money in the account, that's fine. But I wouldn't advise that you go for a bank statement where maybe for the past 3 months or so, the person has not deposited any money in the account. Usually they expect you to present the last 3 to 6 months bank statement. And so if you are submitting it in October, it should be like maybe from the month of like June or May to October, the last 3, 4, 5, or 6, the last 6 months bank statement should be fine so that they can see the money that goes in and the money that goes out. And so if you go for a bank statement where maybe the person does not regularly deposit money into that account, it does not really speak well on your behalf. If you go for a bank statement where maybe the person withdraws and it takes like a couple of months before money comes in again, that also becomes a challenge. But above all, if you can get a bank statement where there's a huge sum of money still lying in the account, it confirms that if you are giving the admission and maybe the visa or others, you still have someone who got your back. Yeah. Any last? Okay.
Like where I'm standing.
Okay, because of our time, we want to move on to the next person. And so even though the original presenters that I posted, it had individuals who were to focus solely on US, I know that some of us have expressed interest in studying in Canada. And so we have our brother here who is currently in Canada and would want to briefly take us through a couple of tips for those who are interested in a Canadian school. Please, if you are not interested in a Canadian school or schooling in Canada, still be on the line. After his session, we will have our next 2 presenters and then we'll wrap up for the day. So Ransford, you can take over.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so once again, thank you, Senior Godwin. Thank you to the first representative, that's Samuel Kingsford and Gideon. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you find yourself. I'm Ransford, and I want to just spend a little over 5 minutes talking about Canada, since Canada wasn't really on the agenda for today's meeting. And before I start, I want to give 2 important advices to prospective applicants. So the first thing has to do with, in the course of you applying, if you come across anything that you don't understand, you can get in touch with any of those presenters and even Senior Godwin for clarification. Don't sit somewhere and be saying, oh, they say this, they say that, they say this. No, hearsay will not take you anywhere. And the second advice also has to do with, if really you want to study in abroad, be serious, be determined, and be committed to the journey, because I will tell you, it's not an easy journey. But if you are determined, you are serious, I know, inshallah, the God you serve, you'll get there one day. All right, so coming back to my presentation, Canada is a very wonderful country. Canada is at the northern side of that is the north US. Canada is a northern neighbor of USA. Let me say that. And a lot of people, in the course of the application, they'll be asking you, "Ah, Ransford, why is a lot of people applying for US and not applying for Canada?" And a whole lot of things. Is because of 2 things, honestly. I would say it's because of 2 things. And the first thing has to do with the application process in how to apply for Canada. And here I'll talk about masters and PhD studies. I don't have a lot information about undergrad because I'm in master's program. So for graduate studies, I can talk a lot about it. But for undergraduates, I'm sorry for those who are in undergraduate. I have little information on that aspect. Now, what I wanted to say is, with Canadian universities, especially graduate studies, they have 2 main ways of admitting students, or they have two main type of studies. They have the thesis based or research based studies, and they have course based studies, right? So with the thesis based studies or research based studies is basically talking about after the end of your studies, there's a paper you have to write, or there's a thesis you have to present to the department before you are graduated. And with the course based studies is like you doing an MBA in Ghana, whereby you just go to class, you meet your lecturer, you sit down for them to teach you, and at the end of the day there's really not a research paper you are supposed to write. And because of how how do you call it, how Herculean the thesis based or the research based studies is, a lot of funding are being given to the thesis based or the research based programs than the course based programs. I'm saying that because most of the people I've had contact with, or even personally speaking, I I got funding because I was coming to do a thesis based program, not a course based program. And with the thesis based program or the research based program, because of how Herculean it is, and because of how, yeah, let me say, yeah, because of how exhaustive it is, a lot of funding is given to those aspects than a course based program. And one major requirement that one has to get in order to do thesis based or research based program has to do with the issue of supervisor. In Canadian universities, if you are here to do a thesis based or a research based program, you need to get a supervisor, and it's a mandatory something. Unlike US, whereby if you don't get a supervisor, you can apply and pray to your God that maybe you get admission and funding. For you Canadian universities, if you are here to do thesis based or research based programs, you need to get a supervisor. You need to get a supervisor. And how do you get a supervisor? We've talked a lot um we've talked a lot about how to craft your email to prospective supervisors, a professor with a research interest that aligns with yours, how to do it. We've talked a lot about. I've sent even so many documents on the WhatsApp page which Senior Gordon created. So if you are new to the page, maybe in the course of tomorrow or in the course of the week, I can resend those documents to show you how you can craft a how do you call it, a good email to these supervisors for them to have a look at it. And with the application process, the deadline for most of these Canadian schools is similar to the ones in the USA. So here we don't really have, I'm talking about thesis based, they don't really have how do you call it, a priority deadline whereby you need to apply before that deadline if you want funding. For here, if you get a supervisor, the supervisor can vouch for you in terms of you getting funding, because most of the faculties in these universities have their funding, have a way of giving funds to their master students or their graduate students. So if you get a supervisor, it is very good that your funding is secured. And getting a supervisor is a major issue, and as I said earlier, it's a mandatory thing you need to do, a mandatory requirement if you are here to do a thesis based or research based program. Again, another thing I want to talk about has to do with funding. I've already talked about faculty funding or specific school funding. So let's say University of Toronto or maybe York University, the school has a specific funding for maybe science related students, or humanities or social science related students. Aside the internal funding that the school gives, recently, it was a recent thing to me, but I also heard there's an issue, or there's a funding organization known as Empower. I don't know if most of you have heard about it. I think the Empower is also an external funding organization who also tends to give loans to international students, and with them they come about with a number of schools that you need to apply to. So let's say they can give you a list of maybe 13 schools in Canada for you to apply, and if you get admission, they are able to give you the loan. As I said, it's a loan that they are giving you, and you know loans one day you pay. That's the Empower. And there's also other external sources of funding like the Global Affairs Canada, like the La Francophone Scholarship. You know, Canada is a bilingual country. We have other provinces, or yes, other people who speak French, and we have other people who speak English. So they also give scholarship to French students from French-speaking countries in Africa or in Europe to also come and study here. And they also have some provincial scholarship, like maybe if you are in Ontario, maybe if you are in Quebec, if you are in British Columbia, there are other fundings that you can also apply to. But if you want major funding in Canada, I think you need to apply to a thesis based or a research based program. And someone will ask, how do I know that this course or this program is a thesis based or a research based or a course based program? When you go to the school website, the requirements are there, which you can see. So maybe you want to apply for history in University of Toronto. You go to their website, the requirement is there that this course is a thesis based course, which at the end of your program there's a paper you need to write. And if it's a course based program, they will also let you know. And the last one I also talk about is with the documents that you need to also submit for your application is the same as the ones you need to submit for the U.S.A. Admission. You need to talk about SOP, statement of purpose, recommendation, writing sample. If writing sample is basically talking about those in the humanities, history and political science and co. Talk about transcripts, resume, and some also require a TOEFL or proficiency letter. So for Canadian schools, getting a supervisor is mandatory, and when you are lucky to get a supervisor, getting funding is very easy. Getting funding is very easy. I know for those in humanities, it's very difficult to get funding, but I can use myself an example. You know, I got a supervisor who agreed to supervise my work. And let me also tell you that earlier, I think Godwin was talking about maybe when your research interest doesn't align closely with the supervisor, you can tweak, or you can, I mean, reinvent your research interest to I mean, be in line with the prospective supervisor that you've gotten. And they are human beings, right? He can agree with you. And when you come and you want to change, it also depends on you. Maybe you in your email, your code email, you call it code email to your supervisor, you wanted to look at women's history in Africa or women's history in Canadian African politics. When you came, you realize, no, this topic is not, it's not good for me, I want to change. It depends on you. They will not say, oh, why did you say that? And when you came, no, for these people here, they are very understandable. So I think that will be the last thing that I will talk about. I don't want to waste my time on Canada because today is mostly on USA. So I will advise those who want to apply to Canada that the application is open. The application window for fall 2023 is open, just as it has been open for USA. You can I don't think it's too late to send emails to professors for them to help you, if for them to be your prospective supervisors. I think it's not too late. There's a popular saying that slow motion is better than no motion. You can try, and believe you me, you will get good response from most of them, whether sciences, humanities, social science, fine arts, any department that you think you fall. So Godwin, Senior Godwin, and if there's any question, I'm happy to.
Yeah. And so before we open up for questions, I know that one difference between US and Canada And the reason why I would choose Canada always over US had to do with getting the opportunity to work off campus when you are still a student. In US, whilst in school, you don't have the opportunity to work off campus. So I don't know if you can briefly touch on that. And if you have heard anything about getting your PR, maybe, yeah.
Okay, so yes, what you said is rightly true. So with Canada, you have the opportunity to work if you are a student to work 20 hours a week outside campus, and inside campus if you get an on-campus work, that one is unlimited. You don't have there's no number of hours, so you can work if you can work for 40 hours if you can work for 30 hours for on campus. It's very advisable for out campus. If you get work outside campus, that one it is mandatory to work for only 20 hours a week. And also with the PR, permanent residence, I think Godwin is I think it's too early. Why I'm saying it's too early is if you get admission and you get funding and you come here, inshallah, you are good for being a permanent resident in Canada is far more easy as compared to the USA. So admission and funding for now, I think Senior Gordon is very, very much important. When you come here for PR and citizenship, you are highly secure. Yeah.
There is one question in the chat room. I don't know if you can see.
Okay. Please, you have gotten a school. Which is that the question, please? Which of the graduate program with that funding can you change course or apply to different sources funding? If you have gotten admission, apply about to apply for my visa. Okay, so can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so Asari, you are
Yes,
asking
please, we can hear you.
Asari, you are asking whether you can change your course and reapply to different so you have two questions, right? So the first part of the question is, can you change your course or reapply to different school and seek funding? Of course, you can change your, and even when you come to Canada with a course or with a program that you got admission, you think you are no more interested in that and you want to change. There are processes that are laid down that you can follow through to change your course and even to change your school. The only thing you have to do is there are some institutions you need to let them be aware, and it's not a, how do you call it? It's not a difficult thing to do. So because I've gotten admission about to apply for, and another thing, Asari, you need to know is one of the things that deter a lot of people from applying to Canada also has to do with getting the visa. Unlike US where you go for an interview and when the counselor is good is convinced with your answers, he give you the visa. With Canada, there are a lot of things you need to do when you want to apply and get visa. A lot of documents, a lot of things you need to put in place. But if you are still determined, committed, why not? Maybe I can you can give me your email and I'll email you, and we will get in touch and give you one or two tricks in how to apply and get a visa. I'm not a visa agent, but you know they say experience is the best teacher. So I can give you. So Asari, you can send me your email and we can get in touch. The second one is, so what do you write to the supervisor? That is a sample of what you can write to yes, as I was saying. So we've been sending, or Senior Gordon and I have been sending some documents that you can read through to craft a good email to a potential supervisor that you think his or her research interest aligns with yours. So yeah, So maybe in the course of the week, or yeah, we will repost those documents into the WhatsApp page for you guys to know. And I'm sorry, I've gotten your email, so we will get in touch. Is there any other question? Hello? Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
So is there any other question? Miss Wilson, you've raised your hand. Can you?
Right, good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
All right. Thank you for the presentation. I've always seen Canadian application to be very difficult due to the getting of supervisor. All right, so I wanted to find out if the cold email is the same, the sample is the same as we send to the US schools. And then also with the US, mostly we look at the acceptance rates. So with Canadian schools too, are we to look at the acceptance rates? And then with the supervisors, a friend of mine said that you can talk to a supervisor even when your research is not in line with the person. You talk to the person, then you get there after you get there, you want to change it, you change it. The only thing is that you are there already. I would like to find out if a supervisor agrees to fund your education, and then after you get there, you decide to change the supervisor. Won't it affect the funding? These are my questions. Thank you.
Okay, so they are all good questions. With the first question, sending sending email sending email to a potential supervisor is as same as how you send an email to a supervisor in US, because you want the supervisor to know that you've read his or her publications, you like her publication, you like the methodology he or she used in maybe coming out with this result, and you think your research also aligns with the person, and these are maybe your credentials. You can send the person maybe a paper that you've published, or maybe your resume or CV product. Can you hear me?
Sorry, I think Henampo Daniel or whatever.
Henampo, I'm going to go ahead and then kick you out from the meeting. I'm sorry, I have to do that. Thank you.
Yeah, hello?
You can continue. I took the person out of the meeting.
Okay, so Ms. Wilson, so what I was saying is, one, sending cold email to supervisor or researcher in USA is the same as the one you are going to do for the Canadian one, because at the end of the day, you are trying to tell the supervisor that his or her research interest aligns with yours, and you've read her publications or her papers, and the methodologies and other things that he or she used are in line with what you are also trying to do. And you can send the person your credentials, let's say your CV, maybe, or a paper, an undergraduate paper that you research on, and it just has to be straightforward, not anything lengthy, because these professors have a lot of emails to read. So if you talk about so many things, they will just become not interested. So just go straight to the point that you've read their work, and you are interested in for them to mentor you, and this is your credentials, and you will send those documents to the page for you to know. And with the second one, yes, as I was saying, if you are lucky to get a supervisor, and the supervisor vouches that, oh, why not continue to do the application, and maybe this and that. Now let me tell you, it is not the supervisors who are going to give you the funding. the funding is going to come from the school, but the supervisors are going to vouch for you. They are going to vouch for they are going to support your application that, oh, Miss Wilson emailed me with her credentials, and I think she's a good applicant, and which if we give her admission and maybe funding, she will be a good addition to the department or the faculty. So that's some of the things that the professors do. And you know, some of these professors are major professors in the department or in the faculty, so they have a say during the admission process or during the funding allocation process, right? So I think, I don't know whether I've answered the second question also. And with yes, and with the third question was on what? If you could remind me, please.
Yeah, the acceptance rate.
Yes, with the acceptance, is it acceptance rate?
Yes, please.
Oh, okay. So
Are we to look at the acceptance rate when applying to Canadian schools as well?
of course, of course, of course. You need to, and one thing you can do is you can look at the ranking of these Canadian schools, right? And you know that the higher the school is at the top, the higher how do you call it, the competitive the admission rate. Do you understand? So maybe if University of Toronto is at the top, as #1 university in Canada, it means that getting admission into that school will be tougher. Unlike maybe you apply, I don't want to mention this school, maybe applying to a school which is maybe ranking 70 or ranking maybe 40 on the ranking list. So you looking at the acceptance rate is not bad, but it all also depends on the documents, or the documents that you are going to use to apply, and you getting a supervisor, because the major thing is you getting a supervisor who is going to support your application or your admission decision when it comes to that. So getting a supervisor is good. Ranking is not bad, but you know yourself. You know that, oh, this document that I have, and looking at the school, this school, I think this one, because it's like it's like those ones that are good for you, but it's very competitive, and this school is not bad, because I can tell you no school is bad in Canada or USA, right? The goal is come and let them know that you are well for, you can also contribute to their academic community. I don't know if I've answered your question.
Sure, you have. Thank you.
Okay, because of our time, we will take the last question. You can please send your question in the chat room. We
Okay,
have the
so
next 2-3 minutes to move on to the next
So a
presenter.
lot of people have sent me their email. I don't know whether they are interested in how to apply for the visa. As I was saying, I'm not a visa agent, I'm not a visa officer, but I can give you one or two ways that you can use to apply for your visa if you get admission and funding from any university. Okay, so I don't know whether Miss Wilson Sands is still up and Kweku Ekins. I don't know whether they want to ask questions.
Hello.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, I need a clarification. I've applied to one of the universities in Canada.
Okay.
Actually, as you have already said, it requires you to get a supervisor before you apply. So I emailed one of these supervisors after going through her profile. She actually shown interest and requested to speak to me through Zoom. I think I emailed her back just to show my readiness. So whenever she's ready, she tells me and I'll be ready. It's over a month now and I haven't heard from her after several follow-ups. So I emailed the program director to find out what is happening. I've actually got in touch with this person and I want to put in my application where she has requested for a Zoom meeting, but for some time now, I haven't heard from her. Would it still be possible to put in my application? But she suggested, to advise I put in my application, but indicate in my statement of purpose that I've contacted this supervisor. I'm still confused. I don't know whether to still go ahead and put in the application. Since you are familiar with the system, just help me to know the way forward. Thank you.
Okay, so that's very good that you initially got a supervisor who wanted. You know, some of these professors, you know, some of them they are old, right? And most of them are they come to the university maybe once a while. Most of them has researches that they go outside their country to do. Maybe some of them are also on sabbatical leave. So maybe, and one thing you also have to know is it's not by force for a professor to how do you call it, to respond to your email or something like that. But all in all, it was good that you contacted someone. Now, with regards to the graduate coordinator advising you to apply, I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's bad because when it comes to admission and funding, they are also very, very much important. You know, they play a major role. So I think you can put in a try if you have the resource. You can put in a try. And as he said or she said, just state that you contacted this person and he or she agreed that he wanted to look at your mentor you or guide you. So I think it's not bad if you have the money. You know, Canadian application fee is not easy, but I think you can give it a try, and God will see us through. Is your question answered?
Yes, please. Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, welcome.
So,
Okay, so Senior Godwin, please. I think the questions are.
Rhoda is asking if there are some schools. Is it, can we have some number of schools from Canada that we can apply? I don't know if you would like to.
I just answered there in the chat. So Google is her best, but Rhoda, you can equally send me, because of time. Rhoda, you can send me your email account here, and I will see if I can send you something later today. And somebody is asking, are there few waivers in Canada? So Canada don't really do fee waivers as compared to America. So I don't really know any Canadian school which waives application fee. I'm sorry, Miss Wilson. If you want to apply, you have to spend. Okay, so Senior Godwin, I think I'm done.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And so we want to have our next presenter in the person of Ebenezer watching. Eben, you can take over.
Okay, thank you. I'm trying to share my screen. Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so I'll just be quick to run through so that we come with various questions that, and then our colleagues will help us to answer. So we want to go to graduate assistantship. What do we need to know about graduate assistantship? What is it at all? I'll be quick to talk about what graduate assistantship is. Yes, it's a salaried student employment opportunity for graduate students. That's basically what graduate students, graduate assistantship is about. So you are coming to assist. We will help you pay your fees, but you will also assist us in some duties. That's the implication. So you're going to work. That's the scholarship. Okay. Then, so you work for a number of weeks, and then you will get a stipend, either monthly or twice in a month. There are these three basic types of graduate assistantship: graduate teaching assistantship, graduate research assistantship, and graduate teaching. There's the other one is just the normal graduate assistantship, and they all have their various duties that they do. These provide teaching classes. I'm talking about the teaching assistantship. They provide instructions on exams, leading lab groups, tutorials for students, and provide instructional support. Then the research assistantship also they conduct experiment, presenting, analyzing research data, and other research activities. And then we come to the other graduate assistantship. Sorry for this, it should have been just a normal graduate assistantship. And these are the various other assistantship: administrative or clerical support, doing general office work, then teaching support, managing websites of a faculty, and advertising. We also provide academic advice and also outreach duties. These are the three main types. There are other assistantship too there, but these are the main ones we normally go for. There are fellowships and those stuff. Yes. So how do you search for graduate assistantship? Okay. There is no one single way. There are various aspects that you need to do, but these are the general guidelines that are you need to take so that you will be successful in your graduate assistantship work. The first one being that it should be part of the things you look for in your school search. Like I think Ransford, or the first presenter, talked about it. The second presenter, I think, talked about it. You ask a lot of questions about funding, and it should be a major aspect of your school search. That when you are searching for a school, you look out for if they have financial aid or scholarship for the program. If not, like I said the other time, those who were present in the first conference, I said that for some people like me, if I see that the school doesn't have an assistantship, I will not even go for. I will just brush up and then go and search for other schools that may have assistantship. That's one. And also, you need to be specific with the programs. I think in Onyina's presentation, he talked about this, so I need not to talk much about it, that you should search for schools that give funding on a particular program. That is one. And then you find out from the school's website, financial aid or scholarship site, the department chair, you find out from the department chair. I mean, it's part of the things you ask for, but read to know that it is on the department side. If you don't find that the financial aid or assistantship is not part of the things that are slated in the department or the program page, then you would want to go further to ask the department chair or the program chair, contact the program coordinator to find out. Yes, that is part of it. And also contact your assigned advisor to find out if you have your assistantship for the program. Then you also go on to find someone you may know for guidance. Like our previous presenters have already indicated that you find out from people, those who are already there. You find information from the right people. It is not just that I want school, then I'm going about to ask anybody anything anyhow. No, find out from the people who are good at this. It's not say the person is in the US or in Canada, so you find out from him or her. No, if it's in the US or in Canada, but it's not in education, for education purpose, the person is working, you may not get the information needed. So that is it. Find out from a student who is into education. Obi an purpose or they call 82 point. Intino, obi dear say okoye juma, obi dear whatever or call visit. And so it's not that you find out from the wrong people. Find from the right people. The people you may know, whether someone you know out there. Then follow all the instructions that you may be given by any of those people I have earlier on mentioned, so that you will be successful. Don't our brother just said that you don't sit here somewhere and you think that you know everything. No, no one has achieved success with alone. Just find out from people. The fact that you find out from people who doesn't take anything from you. So find out, read. Then applying for the assistantship. I've indicated that read. Reading is everything. It gives you the information. So read one to understand the requirements well. Ensure you qualify for the advertised position before you put in your application. Ensure that you understand the position before applying. Then prepare your CV or resume to suit the position. You know, resume or CVs are not rigid. It should be modified to suit a particular position, which you think that you can do it. So find out the particular things that are needed in the position so that you can adjust your CV to suit that position. And you need to be smart and creative. What do I mean to be smart and creative? Sometimes, as our previous presenters have already indicated, sometimes that particular thing, you think that you do not have it, but then you can do it. Then how do you do it? You need to go online and read about it smartly and know how you can connect your experiences with the advertised position. That's the smartness and your creativeness. Sometimes you can put some of those things there in your CV. Sometimes you have not been to any IT training, or you have not been to NIIT. You know some IT issues, how to use basic things on your CV. So you can put it on your CV that maybe you are technologically inclined. You can use the SPSS tool to analyze for data, if that is your work concerns data analysis. You can use maybe Excel to analyze data, but you need to talk about the basic things that you can talk about during the actual process of the interview, because when you are called upon, you will talk about it. So you don't just put anything on your CV just for making your CV rich, but you should be able to talk to it when you are called upon to talk about it. You should prepare your cover letter as well. All these things emanate from the position. When you don't read the position to understand what the things that are needed, you cannot be smart and be creative about your CV and your cover letter, because you talk about all these things in your cover letter and the things that are on your CV as well. Check and ensure that you are sending to the appropriate person or the page or portal you are directed to send your documents. So sometimes when the positions are advertised, you contact your supervisor or the department chair, you will be given some information. A PDF thing of that sort will be sent to you, or a website will be given to you, a portal page will be given to you to go there and check a certain advertised position. Go there and read everything about the position and know where or who you are supposed to send your things to. Do not just send your things to, maybe you think that the the program coordinator, so you are sending your information. No, most of the time, always, where you are supposed to send or your application to are given, whether a website or portal or whatever, or you are directed to send it to a particular person, whether the leader of that particular office or position. The email will be given to you, then you send it to the person's email. Go on and send your application and wait for response. That's how you work for graduate application. Then attending the graduate assistantship interview. The things you need to do: check your emails regularly. Since you have sent your applications, you should check your emails regularly. You can't just send your application and sit aloof and think that somebody will. No, it is your duty, once you are in for it, to check your emails regularly for any update. If you don't get any update, you maybe for 1 week interval or 2 weeks, you may send another a reminder, so that the person gets to know that you have sent this. You can even contact your coordinator if it is maybe more than 2 weeks. I think maybe Godwin will talk about that. If you have sent an email to a particular person and the person is not responding for maybe for 2 weeks or and above, you can prompt your coordinator or your advisor, or send a reminder to the person again. Then you know the schedules. If an interview is given a time schedule, or they tell you that they are interested in your CV and want to know more about you, or they want for interview, know the schedules. When do they say that they can get time? They say most of the time they give you dates that they are available. So a list of dates will be given, and then you choose from the date that you think that it is deemed fit for you for the interview. Then you let them know about it. Then know the time difference. For example, UK, Canada, and US, there are this time difference. So, for example, where I am, Indiana, Ghana is leading us by 4 hours, and some other states too. It is not that you are in the United States, so you think that all the times are the same. The time vary with the states. As I am here, 4 hours difference. Ghana will lead another state by maybe 5 hours. You should know all these things. Find out from online. Some of these things are common from online. You can just type Google the time now. Mostly what I do is that I just go online. I'm like, what is the time now at Indiana? That's what most of the time I do. What is the time now at maybe Ohio? That's what I do. Then you get it, you compare it to that of Ghana, then you see the time difference so that you can be able to know the time difference. Mostly, the interview schedules the times are scheduled in the US time, Eastern time. So know it very well that most of these times are scheduled, they schedule the time in the US time. So when you see that maybe 2 p.m., then you know that 2 p.m. in US time, which state is the school or is the interview being conducted from? Is it Indiana? Then you check from, like I said, that Ghana is leading Indiana by 4 hours. Then you check that maybe if it's 2 p.m. at Indiana, it will be 6 p.m. in Ghana. That's what I'm talking about. So the time, then you add 4 hours to it, then you know that then if you are in Ghana or elsewhere, you check your time to know when exactly the interview will be done. Then be familiar with the platform to be used. So if it is Zoom or WebEx or whichever platform, you should know about it. Some of them, they conduct the interview on Teams, Microsoft Teams. You should be familiar with all these platforms so that you can be able to use it well. It is not that the time that you are to do the interview, then you are coming to navigate on the platforms. No, we are in the current age of modernity and in the computer age, whereby you and I, who are ready to explore the different worlds, should know what's going on around the world. So there are a lot of these media platforms, and they will let you know which platforms the interview will be conducted and the times to. So you should be able to prepare in advance before the due date. Set up your platform earlier before the time. Don't let the interviewer come and wait for you. So you should know that if it is which part of your room do you want to conduct the interview, because it's a video. Most of the times, what I used to do when I was in Ghana is that I set up. Then when they are in, they know that the network is not working properly. They will tell you, oh, Ebenezer, it's fine if you go on and then off your video. You put off your video. They are fine. At least when they see your face, that is the person, and they will tell you that put off your video because the network is problematic. So when you put off your video, then the network will work well with the audio. Then you'll be able to talk. Then visit your CV or resume on the job and compare it with the job description again. You need to go back and check on your CV, the things you put on there. So visit the things that the CV you sent to that particular job description. And it's not that you cannot, so then you go and rehearse with how you talk about it. Sometimes you do empty rehearsals. Personally, I also do that. Sometimes I just talk to my things in the room as if I'm talking to an interviewer. That's the thing. And I've been doing that, so it has become part of me. When you have done the interviews over and over and over again, you may not need to do this, but you read about the job description and the specific requirement. Be smart and creative. What do I mean by being smart and creative? For example, when you are needed to talk about maybe student development, student engagement, how do you get to be smart? Now, let me create a typical example. I was teaching at Aguna SDA Senior High, and when I was there with Rita, you bear me to witness. There was this project that they were doing. They called it Mommy's Eye. Mommy's Eye geared towards students who were weak in some academic areas and they needed some interventions. I knew about it and I was never engaged in that. But you know, when I saw a particular job description that was advertised, and they needed this, I was like, in my CV, what I did was that projects undertaking. So I put it on my CV. It's like I was the coordinator for the Mommy's Eye project. I captured this as a project, but let's say if you are not creative and smart, you may not be able to even know how to capture these things. So I captured it as a project undertaking. Then I wrote about it, Mommy's Eye project. I was the coordinator. And as a coordinator, what did I do? I spelled out the things, about 3 bulletins that I coordinated. I organized teachers who were concerned with some of the subjects that the students were lacking, maybe example, mathematics, English, and science. Then I organized those teachers and I talked to them that this is a free and there's no payment attached to it. So the teachers should just try and give their best to this and help the students. And I said that the teachers also gave out their best. So I did that, and I said that I also I personally, my involvement also was that I organized the best ways of teaching, learning and time management and how to solve examination questions. I did that to the students, but I never did this in anywhere. I'm being frank with you. But I talked about it and they were happy about it. It's not that you are going to put about things you cannot talk about, and you should be natural. When you are talking about something, you know you have lied about it and you are not from you are just messing up with things, then you know that as someone you don't know what you're talking about. So, and this was in relation to student development. It is not that you are going to talk about things that do not matter to the position. And I linked it to that, and they were happy about it. They offered that thing. So, and if you are not careful, I also talked about something that I did when I was at Aguna SDA. I took some students for training at Kumasi. They were girls who were good at playing football, and I sent them to some football teams in Kumasi. And I also captured that as a project. And you know how I captured that project? I said that help me know myself. That is the caption I gave to the project. So I said that I was the founder and the coordinator for that project. And I talked about this was also to help students to revive their dying talents and some students to discover their inborn talent that they even didn't know. And so with this, I talked about what I did, the things I did about these projects, these 2 projects, and how they relate to the position I am applying for. So you need to be smart in these things. So if this thing is captured and you don't revisit your CV when you are told that you need to be interviewed, you may go and mess up with things. And you need to be articulate. The 8th point is that you need to be articulate. Talk well. Bring out your points clearly. Let them understand what you are talking about. Have confidence and have upper hand over the things that you are talking about. Deal with it clearly and they will be happy with it. Then they will be nodding their heads like that. Sometimes the accent may be a bridge between you, but then you should be able to know how to, you should have a certain amount of command over the English language. You should be able to speak well so that you can be audible and articulate in your presentation. Thank you. If you have any other thing that you talk about, I think these are the basics in applying for the interview. When you are done with these things, then they will tell you that sometimes they will also ask you a question. Do you have anything for us? Then you go on and ask if you have something to ask them, like mostly the things I ask for, how is it like on a typical day in this job? Then they tell you how the job is, and you may want to find out, do you go for, do you have a summer break on this job, or do you work in this office on the summer or on vacations? Or you may also want to know, how about their Fridays? How is it like on Fridays, typical Fridays? They will tell you that maybe Fridays we close at this time, because when I came here, what I've realized is that they don't joke with their weekends, not at all. So sometimes on Fridays they close on time. Some offices they close on time. You may want to send them email, you not find them. They'll get, sorry, I'm not in the office. That's how it is. So find out things, important things. Don't just be asking unnecessary, sorry to say, unnecessary questions. Thank you. Any questions, contribution? Godwin, I'm done.
Okay, thank you so much. I think we've gone way beyond the time. Myself, I even have another commitment at exactly 4:30, which the time is due. But I want to open the floor for the next 2 minutes. If you have any question, within 2 minutes, and then we end here for today. Maybe another session, I will come in and then talk about writing the statement of purpose. And so in the next 2 minutes, we are closing. You can jump in and then throw in your question, either here or on the WhatsApp platform. You can go ahead and then throw in your question so that in the next 2-3 minutes we end. I have to switch from the Zoom to another Zoom meeting. Yeah, thank you. Any 1-2 questions and then we close.
Okay, can I ask about this briefly? Yeah, some of us are, for instance, for myself, I'm very new to the whole process of applying for admissions and all of those. And just like my brother gave a very solid presentation on the graduate assistantship, it opened my eyes to a lot. But then how is it like identifying a graduate assistantship position in a school you are applying to? Is it always open, or you have to contact the course administrator or whatever you call it to ask about it? I don't know if my question is clear.
Yes. With that quickly, identifying a graduate assistantship is like I said in the presentation. I said that it is the first thing, one of the core things that you find out in your school search. When you are searching for a school, Onina previously told us that ask for search for schools that give funding. If a school does not have funding, then you may want to ignore and go to another school, because there are a lot of schools. Some are giving funding, others are not giving. And so it should be part of your school search. So I did education. Maybe I'm looking for schools that do offer PhD in maybe educational statistics or educational psychology. Then you may also want to know which schools do offer assistantship or funding for educational psychology in the United States or maybe in Indiana State. It is one of them. If you don't do that, then I don't know. Second thing is that you may, the things also you require from an advisor or a coordinator is to find out funding. That is one, or assistantship. That is the second thing. Again, I've talked about read. When you don't read, most advisors and coordinators will not mind you on things that are already slated on their website or on their program or department website. If you go there and there's funding opportunity or scholarship or financial aid, sometimes they say scholarship, financial aid, go there and read about it. Those things, those ones you qualify. If you think that you have read and you don't qualify, then you may want to proceed to find out from the coordinator or the assigned advisor. That is the things you should do when you are giving the admission. These are the things you do. The assigned advisor, program chair or department chair, or the program coordinator. You find out from them. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so we want to end here for today. And so if you have more questions, you can go ahead and then throw the questions on the WhatsApp platforms so that we do well and then answer all your questions. So thank you all very much for honoring today's invitation. Hopefully we hope to organize another session so that we'll go ahead and talk about writing statement of purpose. But if you have any question, you can just throw it on the WhatsApp question. Yeah, we spent 2 hours, over 2 hours, 30 minutes. That's much appreciative. We wouldn't want to spend much time more than this. Yeah, thank you all.